So hi, I'm Dr. Michael Mosley. I am a television journalist and author of the 5-2 diet, the fast diet. Now, the reason that I got involved in all of this is because 4 years ago I went to see my doctor and had a blood test, and she came and told me that I was now a type 2 diabetic, which was a bit of a shock because I didn't think I looked particularly overweight or anything like that. But it turns out when I had a scan, I'm what's called a toffee, thin on the outside, fat inside. And my doctor was keen that I should go off and have medication, but I wanted to do something different. So I persuaded the editor of the BBC Science Strand Horizon to let me go and do something called intermittent fasting. And the idea behind that is that you cut your calories a couple of days a week. Now, when I actually did that, I call it 5-2 because 5 days you kind of eat healthily and 2 days you cut your calories down to a quarter of their normal amount. Well, I found when I did that, the fat just kind of melted away, the internal fat just kind of went. In fact, I lost around 9 kilos in just under 12 weeks. And what was even better is my blood sugars came right down so that I'm no longer diabetic. That's 4 years ago, and what you see now is what you were like, or rather what I was like immediately after stopping. So the great thing is you lose weight, but you can also keep the weight off by doing it sort of 1 day a week, what I call 6-1. Or just, occasionally you let yourself go and then you go back to the 5-2 diet and you bring it down. And there has been an awful lot of research recently which shows multiple benefits of doing 5-2. And I've incorporated this with something else, which is what I call HIIT, high intensity training, which is not anywhere near as scary as it sounds. It's a form of exercise which I do on an exercise bike, and I get on it and I pedal away. And I do about 20 seconds breather, 20 seconds breather, 20 seconds breather. That's about 1 minute intense exercise, and that's it. I do that 3 times a week. And astonishing as it may sound, that has multiple health benefits. Now, I would suggest to anyone who's thinking of embarking on such a program, it would be a good idea to do it in a context, to do it with the support of others, to do it in a properly organized program, because you can do it by yourself like I did, but it's really quite tough. And the other thing that you really want to do is go and have a bunch of tests beforehand, so you have something to evaluate, so you can sort of measure how far you have come, and that will be incredibly motivating. And it also means that when you're done and you're dusted, and if you're ever tempted to let that weight creep back up again, you can have repeat tests, and they'll tell you how you're doing. So the tests that I think are really worth doing include obviously standing on the scale, so what weight you're on, but that's really the bare minimum, measuring your waist, because that's important. You can go and have a DEXA scan, which is a relatively cheap test, but it's really powerful, because what it does is it shows you what your body looks like from the inside. It will show you visceral fat, the fat that's around there. And the great thing is you can stick that up on your fridge, and that will remind you every morning of what you're trying to achieve. And after 12 weeks you have another one done and you can see the change, and you can show it to your friends. And it really is a powerful thing to be able to do. There are also a bunch of other blood tests which I think are quite important. You want to measure your cholesterol, obviously, your fasting glucose levels, other things as well, because internal fat will affect your liver and you want to see changes there. So I think it's important to be monitored. I think it's important to stick to this thing. I think it's important to have support, particularly the exercise regime. It's really important to do that, particularly if you're not terribly fit, in a program which is very specific and where you have sports scientists, people behind you who are going to keep you going. And the thing you can be assured of is if you're doing this sort of a program in the right place, then it is science-based, so that your efforts, the things you do, are all effective. They will be monitored, they will be categorized. There are lots and lots of ways you can lose weight, there are lots of ways you can do exercise, but frankly most of them are not science-based. Most of them are unreliable. So what I would urge you to do is do something which actually has science behind it, and I'm sure that if you do, then you will see some really dramatic changes.